Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Pisces February 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, first thing up is as far as February goes, Venus will be in Capricorn from the 3rd until the 28th. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, one may value a lot of responsibility, consistency, seriousness, and very regimented energy in matters with friends and acquaintances and goals, aspirations. It could be also a lot of planned and premeditative spending perhaps on the future and valuing premeditation in the future, planning ahead, and also this could be also too some enjoyment perhaps in Capricorn-like clubs, organizations, groups. They could be business or political ones, something with information technology perhaps, and something anything that could be Capricorn related. I mean, I don't think there's may not be a timekeeping group, but anyway. The thing is, too, another thing about this is guard against feeling overly pessimistic or negative or disconsolate, and because it could maybe, in this case, it could affect maybe your friendships, or it could be where you might be feeling overly negative and pessimistic in regards to your friendships and acquaintances. Maybe you feel like there's limitations in them, or there's something about them that's making you feel somewhat depressed or making you feel melancholy, or even about the future at this time, because Capricorn energy can be like that, can be depressing. So just really try to avoid that at this time. And if this is safe, a lot of this could be predicated on aspects this makes to points of chart. This making an adverse aspect to, say, Saturn. This could perhaps even intensify or accentuate that energy of feeling perhaps despondent regarding those matters, and maybe even matters with relationships as well. Or say if transit Saturn is making an adverse aspect to your natal Venus, you might feel like there's some restrictions in connection with them, and it might really kind of enhance those this energy a little bit. So anyway, next thing up is Mars will be in Aries as far as February goes, from the 1st until the 14th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now at this time, situations perhaps with people that you may generate income with. It could maybe even ones you might value. It could be might be more acrimonious and contentious than usual. It could be people that are prominent in the place you're generating income. This could be a thing too where there might be more easy provocation in regards to your possessions, your resources, things of a monetary nature at this time, more so than usual. At the same time, you might put a lot of energy and vitality into some Aries money-making endeavor. I mean, it could be something connected with EMT work or surgery, welding, firefighting, if that is a paid, there's a paid position for that. Also, excuse me, even maybe a position that requires some form of confrontation potential work, such as repossessing vehicles, something of that nature. Also, too, this could be a time, too, where you could be really about taking aggressive and assertive action in monetary matters. And a lot of energy and vitality may go into matters connected with your self-worth and your self-esteem. And you might, at this time, too, very aggressive and assertive and courageous energy is what you may strongly value. Anyway, next thing up. Mars will be in Taurus as far as February goes, from the 14th until the 28th. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, this could be about a lot of persistent and stubborn, obstinate battles, so to speak, perhaps with third house people. And they could be perhaps with siblings, cousins, neighbors, people that you know perhaps through your short journeys. This could be also putting really about having an abundance of mental and physical energy. It could be very latent. And as far as the physical energy may go, could be latent energy, considering this is Taurus energy. And also, too, this could be a time also where you might become a little bit more angry over protracted and sustained provocation, perhaps from third house people, such as siblings, cousins, neighbors. It might be from people from your early education. And you might find yourself at this time, if you're unattached at this time, Pisces, that you might find yourself involved in a sexual interlude or liaison with a Taurus from your early education. Perhaps it might be someone in your neighborhood. It could be a Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply one that embodies Taurus-like characteristics. So anyway, and also too, you might find yourself embroiled in more confrontations over finances, perhaps with third house people such as your neighbors, your cousins, your siblings, and also perhaps putting a lot of energy into assimilating information, perhaps having things demonstrated visually in a very methodical manner, since we're talking about Taurus energy. Anyway, next thing up. Jupiter will still be in Sagittarius, so the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, you might experience a lot of exuberance and perhaps enthusiasm through traveling abroad in your career. You might find yourself going to different countries. This could be a time too, as I've talked about previously, that Jupiter, of course, could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. It can be somewhat paradoxical. It could expand in some cases rather foolhardy, self-righteous, over-optimistic, even reckless behavior, perhaps from 10th house people, such as authority figures. It could be the dominant parent, which is often the father, people prominent in your career. Perhaps it could even be how maybe you're expressing yourself in matters with these people. Now, also too, you might find yourself at this time could be very auspicious, perhaps for publishing something Sagittarius related, such as something with horses or archery, something with something sports related, something connected with translation, learning a new language. Publishing, it could be something connected with advertising, anything that or something that involves traveling abroad, anything that could be Sagittarius related that may get you exposure, notoriety, and recognition. And also, I mean, looking at this as well, this could be something too, where this could really be about just very fortuitous, really, I mean, for career related matters in general. And it could be through the expression of very strong positive Sagittarius expansive energy. Sometimes the positive energy often will just bring more success to you in your life. It could attract those people that might actually be able to help you to attain success and be more successful. So anyway, next thing up. Well, Saturn will be in Capricorn still, so the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Well, at this time, you might experience some restrictions and limitations in matters connected with friends, with acquaintances. It could be even with stepchildren. It could even be something where you might be taking care of a debilitated or sickly stepchild, or perhaps a friend, an acquaintance, it could be something, it could be a person, someone that's very debilitated or sickly, and it could be something that could be Capricorn related, such as something with the knees, the bones, or the joints. And also it might be a time where you might be doing something where you're involved with a lot of laborious, something Capricorn related. It could be something with the government, something political, something business. That is a goal or an aspiration. And also this could manifest perhaps in gaining structure and discipline in matters with your goals, with your aspirations at this time, and really doing things where you're like that taskmaster master for as far as your future goes, and doing things and really doing things, working very laboriously toward perhaps your future and your goals that are associated with them at this time. And older people might figure more prominently in those matters as far as your future goes, and really as far as maybe matters in terms of clubs or groups or organizations or any kind of goal or aspiration at this time. Hold on a moment, people. Anyway, next thing up. Well, Uranus will be in Aries still, so the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, this may manifest in perhaps unpredictable, acrimonious outbursts. It could be from people that you generate money with. This could be also, too, this could be about financial fluctuations, and your monetary situation might be somewhat erratic and sporadic at this time. And also, too, Aries friendships. It could be Aries Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Aries-like characteristics. Might figure more prominently in your self-worth, your self-esteem, monetary matters, your possessions and resources. And whether they're positive or negative, of course, a lot of that could be dependent and predicated on the aspects this makes to points in your natal chart. Say if this is making an adverse aspect to your natal Venus, it could be something where they might be having somewhat adverse or negative effect on this, or if it's making an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn, it could be something where they're causing some kind of perhaps restriction, or they're causing some kind of despondency or sadness, so it could obviously have a negative effect on it. Or if it's making a positive aspect to your natal Venus, then the opposite may be true. They might actually be very doing something that's actually enhancing your financial acumen and other second house matters. Also, it's about these another thing about this too is that you might find yourself doing something, I mean, Uranus-like as far as generating income. It could be doing something with astrology or some other esoteric subjects, something with aerospace, astronomy, computers, electronics, or even innovation. And of course, Aries has, of course, a lot of pioneering energy. Anyway, next thing up, Neptune will be in Pisces still. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Well, at this time, you might find yourself, I mean, Pisces can be somewhat deceptive and duplicitous anyway, but even when you're talking about Neptune in the first house, it might increase this a little bit. You might find yourself, too, where new beginnings may be somewhat nebulous, but at the same time, it could also manifest in Neptune like new beginnings. It could be doing some work with the feet, or doing something with photography or chemistry, the metaphysical, which can include astrology. It could be something with spirituality, anything that could be Neptune related. And also, at this time, be very careful, because, I mean, Pisces already, I mean, is a sign, of course, I believe has the greatest propensity toward drugs and alcohol, but this could even increase that when you're talking about Neptune energy. And also be especially careful of some accidental inadvertent assimilation of some chemicals, especially if this is actually hitting your actual first house in your natal chart. I mean, something like radon in the home could be an example. And also, too, there might be some confusion in terms of your outlook right now on life, and maybe new beginnings as well. And also, too, I mean, another way this can manifest perhaps is false prophets or mediums perhaps affecting maybe a new beginning you might take. And don't let those people maybe steer you in the wrong direction, and you might be coming into more contact with these kind of people. So you need to be very careful and prudent and cautious at this time. And also, something could happen too where you might, I mean, especially if this is hitting the first house in one's natal chart, I mean, this could be about some dissipation and dissolving of energy and vitality, and you might be more susceptible to a Neptune-like illness, such as something with the feet or the toes, perhaps something with the lymphatic system. So anyway, last but not least, Pluto will be in Capricorn still, so the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to anyway. This may manifest in an actual literal death in some cases of a friend or acquaintance you might have known well, or even a stepchild if applicable in some cases. Also, this could be about perhaps the obliteration or destruction, tearing down of some goals and aspirations, maybe some group or club or organization you may be involved in, but at the same time, it could also be about rebirth as well. And when Pluto, a lot of times when it may destroy something, something could be supplanted, I believe, with Pluto as well. So when something may go away, you may get a revival of that same energy or that same thing that went away, or something that might be able to supplant or replace it. Now, also to avoid perhaps being overly manipulative, perhaps in trying to attain some goal or aspirations, there may be some power struggles with 11th house people, with such as friends, acquaintances, a stepchild, perhaps. This could also be something where you might find yourself at this time doing something, perhaps as far as a goal or aspiration, something Pluto related. It could be something connected with the supernatural, the occult, astrology could be in there. Could be something with the death field, such as working as a coroner or as a funeral director. It could also be some cases about, in some cases, a lot of secrecy, perhaps in 11th house matters in some kind of group situation, or maybe even humanitarian endeavors, because if this is possible, well, why would one be secretive as far as that goes? Well, sometimes people are just modest and humble, and they may want to do some things that are of a humanitarian nature that they don't necessarily want to share with others because they don't want to boast. And Pisces, of course, is a sign I see as being very reticent, and a sign that could be very humble and modest. They're usually not one to be boastful about things they are doing, as far as whether their accomplishments or whether it's positive things they may be doing for other people. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Pisces February 2019 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Aries March 2019 horoscope forecast, part 1 of 2. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.